I am Crazy G. That was Mr. Tom Kiefer. New song off his new CD, The Way Life Goes. That's called A Cold Day in Hell. And right now, we are going to go to the phones because I believe I have Brandon Yeagley on the phone, lead vocalist and harmonica for the band Crobot. You there, Brandon?
Sure am. How's it going?
Not too bad. I hope I got your last name correct.
It's actually Yeagley, but it's often mispronounced, so it's no harm, no foul.
Well, I know how that goes because you should see my last name. And people just butcher it, so.
No worries, man.
Very cool. Listen, I want to thank you for taking the time to hit the G spot. What's going on?
We're actually headed back to Pottsville, Pennsylvania right now, driving back from New York City. We had some promo stuff to do last night, and hung out with the people at our label and our management one more time before we hit the road with Truck Fighters. So it was a one last drunken hoorah for us in the city, and we're excited for the road ahead. We're heading home for a little bit.
I'm excited for you guys. You're relatively new to the scene.
Yeah.
It's a pretty cool story how the band formed. Could you talk a little bit about that experience with us first?
About a year ago, I guess it is at this point, Bishop and I had pretty much fired half the band, and a day later we got an email from Wind Up saying that they were interested in the band, and to make a long story short, we knew Jake and Paul from playing previous gigs with their band Thick Leather Brick, and they were headed to L.A. in like a week. We snagged them right before they left, and the rest is history.
That's very cool, and I listen to the song often in my own home. It has a natural feel to it, in my opinion. It has everything you want in a song. It sounds smooth, natural, and it rocks.
Well, thank you.
How did this track come about, and what was it like writing it?
Well, it seems like decades ago since we worked on that track, but from what I remember, we just like heavily influenced from like the doomy grungy stuff, I guess you could say, like the Soundgarden vibe, and that song sort of like a mix between that vibe and an Aerosmith vibe. So, and it's going back, to be honest with you, thinking about when we wrote those tracks, because we just actually got done recording our latest effort with Machine, and we're just starting to get the masters back on those tracks. So it definitely seems like decades ago since we worked on those songs. But
now,
that's a deep one there.
Well, I was going to ask, is that because I have to tell you, you guys have hardly no information out there, and I dug pretty deep, and I talked to a few people to try to get some of your stuff, and they're basically like, well, no, they're coming out with something new, and I was like, great. So I just assumed this track was going to be on your upcoming CD.
Actually, that song is in that form is going to be unfortunately buried for quite a while. That the independent release is we've actually just taken it off Spotify, taken it off of iTunes, Amazon, and whatnot to make way for the higher fidelity version of Crobot, if you will. But that's actually one that didn't make the cut, and there weren't many old song from the first album that we re-recorded. I think we did 4 of them. We did Legend of the Spaceborne Killer, Weigh Me Down, Tap Dancing on a Tightrope, and In the Undertow took a different formality. But I think that's basically it for the songs off of that CD, and the rest is going to be new material. So we're super excited to get that out there and release that. Hopefully in the next week or so, we should have Spaceborne Killer out there as a free download for people who sign up for the Crobot Nebula. So
that's cool.
We shall see.
And that's what I was going to ask. What, if anything, can you tell us about the upcoming debut release for you guys?
Well, it's looking like mid-May we're going to release a 4-song EP, going to sort of be an introduction of Crobot to the world, and then hopefully September we'll be dropping the full length, and we'll be on the road campaigning both growth very steadily, hopefully.
From what I could see, from some of your live YouTube clips, just amazing, really, really amazing stuff. I have to ask, you brought it up. What was it like working with famed producer Machine, and how did that collaboration materialize?
Actually, it's another crazy story, as Synchronicity often touches our crazy life here at the Crobot world. But we met Machine at South by last year, which is funny to bring it up because we're headed there in about 2 weeks. But last year in Austin, we played a wind-up showcase, and apparently Machine showed up an hour earlier than he was supposed to and caught our entire set. And happy accident. We talked to him afterwards. He loved the set. He had no idea who we were at that point. He just he reached out to us and said he'd be willing to try to make things work and see if we can get in the studio with him somehow, or at least talk about it. And here we are, about to release the fruits of our labor here in a few months. So it was really it was life changing for us all. I mean, as a band, we grew in that studio in Dirty Jersey, and it was a great experience working with him. He was a very animated character to have in the room when you're laying tracks down. Sometimes it can get kind of boring in there and stale, but he definitely kept everything fresh and kept our gears to the grind, and it's exciting stuff where we have permagrin constantly thinking about everything,
I'm definitely looking forward to it. Even, like you said, some of the older stuff. I don't know where you guys have been. I think a couple weeks ago or a few weeks ago was the first time I really heard of you. And, I was like, these guys are really good. You're making this very easy for me because you mentioned Wind Up, and you've signed with Wind Up Records. What has that experience been like for you guys?
Well, you hear the adages that the constant bashes on labels, and that they're the enemy and this and that. You hear that all the time. But for us, it's just been nothing but the perfect experience thus far. And they take extreme care of us and make sure that we have all the tools that we need for success. And they've done great things with Creed and Evanescence and bands like Seether and The Darkness, and new areas that they're delving into as well. And it's exciting stuff. They've treated us the best that they could possibly have treated us to this point, and we're definitely both happy seemingly thus far. And it's very cool to be a part of a label as cool as Wind Up. I mean, before we signed, we really got a chance to get to know everybody in the office, and it was really, we were a part of the family before we signed in blood. So it was a good feeling all the way, and continues to be a good feeling for us. So we definitely feel at home.
Yeah, you're right. Some people, you hear horror stories out there with some labels, or this one's bashing that one or whatever. And I think we should all lose that and just get to the music. You know what I mean?
That's right. That's what it's about.
You guys have a few videos on YouTube, and your live shows seem to be totally interactive. You entice the crowd and maneuver the stage like you own it. It seems to come natural to you guys. What can you attribute that to?
Well, I mean, it's really what we do. It's just, we get up there, and it's, we want to be no other place in the universe than on stage jamming with each other, and just hoping that people out there are enjoying what they're watching and hearing, and it's just for me, it's a lot of just ripping off James Brown and watching Prince videos and that sort of thing, but it's just really about us. We're just comfortable up there. What we do, we just, when we're not playing on stage, we're practicing in a room together, whether it's my living room or somebody's garage or somebody's basement, wherever it happens to be. We have fun with it, and we definitely don't lose that. And whether it's to 5 people or 5,000, you're going to get the same Crobot show.
And the reason I ask is because, as I said, I was doing some research on you guys, and you basically just formed not too long ago. And your videos, again, you guys just look so comfortable together. It was almost like you guys were meant to be together. It just seemed to flow so evenly across the board, from your stage presence to the music itself. You know what I mean? So,
yeah.
And that's why I asked, because some bands get together and they don't look that comfortable.
All crazy stories aside, I mean, it's just chemistry is a huge thing in a band. I mean, not just writing, but like you said, on stage, and it just really seems to come easy for us, and we don't really second guess anything. We just try to make it what it is, and it's an extension of our souls. We try not to filter that too much. We just let it all hang out.
I'm also curious to know, who are some of your and/or the band's musical influences?
Well, I mean, we just, we have a lot of long van rides, so we get to dig through the Spotify catalog quite a bit. But it just goes back to all the classics that we grew up with, like the AC/DC and the Black Sabbath and Led Zeppelin, and all that stuff that seems to survive the ages and the test of music time. And that's the stuff we grew up listening to, and that's the stuff we still continue to listen to. I mean, we listen to bands like that bring that sort of back, like Graveyard, and bands like Truck Fighters, and a little more mainstream like Queens of the Stone Age, and Clutch, of course. But yeah, we're into a lot of different things. We go through different kicks individually, where sometimes some of us will be into doom, and other ones of us will be into a little more of the funky stuff, and we just it's cool to have each of us have to be on the DJ position, and we get to hear an eclectic mix on the road. So
I'm glad you guys have the downtime and the opportunity at some point to check out a lot of the music. And as you said, some of that stuff has lived forever. It's funny when you were saying that. I just pictured myself listening to Zeppelin 4 as a kid, getting that album and putting it on, and you just took me back, man.
Yeah, you can't get that anywhere else. Music seems to have that power in it. It's an incredible thing. So and to us it was that music too, but a lot of the times we sort of think we grew up in the wrong era, but then you have these things like Spotify and all these tools where we can go back and kind of dig up things that maybe got put under the radar even in the 70s, like bands like Toad and Leafhound, and stuff like that that's a little obscure too. So it's definitely cool to have the downtime, like you said, to expand our horizons even more.
And isn't it cool that, I know I'm probably a little older than you, but some of the younger generations, like if I mention Zeppelin or The Dead or the Jimi Hendrix Experience or whatever, they'll look at me like, who are you talking about? It's like you said, some of this stuff gets buried, and whether their parents don't turn them on to it or they find out on their own, we're fortunate. We got to get that stuff.
Yeah, that's a scary world. I don't want to live in that world.
Exactly. I have to ask you, Crobot is an unusual name. On your website, it states, according to legend, Crobot got their name from their penchant for jamming, crowbar-esque riffs with low robotic octave effects. Is that truly how the name came about?
Yeah, actually, it's not as cool of a story as we'd like it to be, but I mean, basically, our guitar player Bishop was hanging out with a bunch of his friends, and he says, we're trying to come up with a name. And that's always such a hard task to do, because it's so hard to love something, and so we want to be like doomy and riffy like Crowbar, but have like spacey effects like robot sounds. And one of his buddies, cousin Dave, was like, well, what about Crobot? And it's like, boom.
It's unusual, but it fits. It does, and he did a great job with it, coming up with it.
Yeah, and it kind of describes us in a nutshell too. We're dirty. We're scavengers.
Well, I wouldn't say you're scavengers, because, I mean, the few tunes that I got to check out by you guys, they were solid. They were good old rock and roll and down and dirty and amazing stuff. According to your About page on your website, you're on tour. You're on tour right now with Clutch, correct?
Well, actually, we just got off that tour at the end of January. It would have been. We were scheduled to hit the road on Snowcore, but that ended up getting canceled on us. On March the 6th, we start our tour with a band called Truck Fighters. But it was the end of January for the Clutch tour. It was just Clutch and the Sword. We had, I believe it was like 17 dates with them, basically East Coast markets, and that was exciting for sure.
What's it like touring? I mean, especially with somebody like Clutch.
Well, touring in general is just, it's really, it's home for us. And as ironic as it sounds, you know, we all feel at home when we're on the road, with each other in a different city every night. So, that's something we definitely enjoy. And, you know, we get cabin fever a lot quicker than most people, I think. So it tends to make things interesting sometimes. But, you know, touring with Clutch was just incredible. I mean, even to be in the same sentence as Clutch and the Sword was, you know, an honor. And really, like, we can't say enough good things about both bands. I mean, crew included. They were so great at you know, showing us the ropes, so to speak, because we don't, you know, we are a new band and we don't have that much experience when it comes to that level of touring. So it was really good to not only tour with a band that, you know, we admired and idolized and, you know, grew up listening to, but, you know, for them to be so accepting and, you know, pushing us in the right directions and, you know, like I said, showing us the ropes was huge for us and, you know, career changing, honestly. And it's the best step forward that we could have possibly done as our first step. So we're super happy to, you know, with the way things are just continuously rolling out for us. We couldn't be happier.
Well, I'm super happy for you too. I mean, your energy, I can just tell that it excites you when you talk about it, and that's great. And
yeah,
that's what you want to hear from, you know, a band and or artist. And I got one more question for you, and I'll let you go.
Sure.
Besides the upcoming release and the tour, is there anything else in the works for Crobot in 2014?
2014. Well, we're going to have a few videos being released out there on YouTube and Vimeo and such areas. The EP should be in May, hopefully in mid-May. We got the full length, as you said, in September. But really hitting the road and, you know, hopefully we'll see you guys out there a few times this year.
Well, I hope so too, because I know I missed you guys when you came up here the last time, and when you come around again, I'm not missing you this time. So.
All right.
I want to take the time to thank you. I want to thank the band Crobot. I want to thank NewEnglandConcertReviews.com for helping us out and hooking us up and giving us the opportunity to chat with you. It's been really cool. And, you know, again, I love your stuff. I wish you guys the best. I can't wait for the new CD and, you know, rock and roll, man.
All right. Well, hey, thanks for letting us on the G-Spot.
Anytime, man.
All right. Thanks so much. Take care.
Thank you, too. Have a good one.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, Brandon Yeagley, lead vocalist and harmonica for the band Crobot. Very interesting and very cool interview. Check out some of their stuff. They're coming out with a new CD this year, so make sure you check them out. I guarantee you'll like them. Right now, we're going to get back to the music here on WSUR. This is Blacklist Union. I do.